country. We check the mood of the country at 5 p.m. Now, as we speak, the country is still bathing in the afterglow of the milestone that it reached yesterday. You remember, India became the first country to ever land a spacecraft on the lunar South Pole. Let's take a look.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Liftoff normal.
Here we have a majestic liftoff of LTM-3 M4 rocket carrying India's prestigious Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft.
We are nearing the final phase of the power descent, approaching the moon surface.
जी हाँ, आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं. What an incredible moment this is for ISRO, for India's space scientists, and for all of us here at CNN News 18. Unbelievable scenes, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir, we have achieved soft landing on the moon. India is on the moon.
जब हम अपनी आंखों के सामने ऐसा इतिहास बनते हुए देखते हैं, जीवन धन्य हो जाता है. ये क्षण जीत के चंद्र पथ पर चलने का.
We are focusing on the huge milestone that the country achieved yesterday. Remember, India became the first country in the world to land successfully on the lunar South Pole. Why does that matter? The lunar South Pole has craters that have not been touched by sunlight in billions of years. What that means is that there's actually water, ice and other volatile substances that are present in those craters that scientists are excited to experiment on to find out what the solar system looked like billions of years ago. Now, my colleague Harish Upadhyay, who's present with us in Bengaluru, brought us this interview with the ISRO chairman. He was able to sit with the person under whose leadership India's been able to make this huge achievement. Take a look. This is the interview. Now, we're going to bring you that interview in just a second. But as we show you that interview, because I do want to bring it for you, let me just bring you a little bit of the context. Remember, there are instruments on board the Vikram lander and the Pragyan rover. And these instruments are supposed to carry out experiments over just the next 14 days. These 14 Earth days equal 1 lunar day. And the experiments need to be completed in that time, because after that, the lack of sunlight will mean temperatures will drop to a degree that the instruments may not be able to carry out those experiments. Anyway, let's very quickly go to the interview that I wanted to show you a little while earlier. My colleague Harish Upadhyay down in Bengaluru brought us this interview with ISRO's chief. Take a look.
Well, the entire country is proud of ISRO for the kind of achievement it has made, and joining me today is the chief of ISRO, Mr. Somnath. Sir, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So, I'll come to the first aspect which perhaps the entire country now wants to know. One, the health of the lander and the rover, and if scientific experiments have started, the payloads on board have started their job.
Health is good, both are working very well. Experiments are yet to start, it will take some more time.
Okay. So, you spoke about the last 15 minutes and called it almost 15 minutes of terror. If you can recollect last 15 minutes, sir, many of them have called it almost a textbook precision landing. What went through your mind, sir?
No, it is supposed to be a textbook precision landing. So there is nothing surprising for me, and nothing was anxious in that part, because it was following the trajectory of what we designed. So it was giving so much of hope that it will land it perfectly well. So I had no worries.
Not even in the last few minutes.
Why should I? There was no reason for it.
Okay. So, in fact, the next challenge now everyone is talking about is the exploration starts. The rover has already rolled out. What are the challenges on the lunar surface, sir? Many say perhaps the lack of our atmosphere itself might be a
there are
challenge.
many issues in the lunar surface we are experiencing for the first time, especially when mechanisms, moving items are there on the surface. It can get entangled with the dust there. It can get into the moving parts and jam them. The bearings of the system may not work, the motors may not work, and it gets stuck. The dust is a special dust, not like the Earth's surface. In the absence of atmosphere, air, it gets sticking too much to the materials and get welded. We call it cold fusion welding and things like that. So all this creates problems in those mechanisms. We are yet to experience. So let us see how it goes. And the issues of temperature on the surface is again another issue. So we'll face it by the time it goes. Sometimes we may face, sometimes it will be a new learning for us. We will wait for it.
Yeah.
That's why we are exploring. Everything is known. What is the fun in going there?
Absolutely. So one aspect that everyone wants to now know is what happens with the kind of data that comes in. Is this something that now will also be shared with other space agencies, or will ISRO first analyze the set of data that comes
No,
in?
there are mechanisms for data analysis. There is a separate committee which is looking into it, in which all principal investigators of each of the payloads, as well as co-investigators, its collaborators. There is a big team behind every instrument, and they will get all this data. They will make sense out of it, and they are all Indian scientific community, and they will use this data first before it give to anybody, and that will be posted to our centralized archives, which can be accessed by the entire world at very freely after some lock-in period, and lock-in period has to be decided.
Yeah. So many people saying that this is one of the major steps. What is the future, sir? The next step? People are talking about perhaps a mission that retrieves samples from moon. Pragyan perhaps will be the another step in putting a man in the space first and then on a planet. What next, sir?
Yeah, we should do all of that one day, because the whole of this is done for enhancing our understanding and also demonstrating our technological capabilities. Bringing sample from moon is needed at some point in time when we think that we have an ability to do that. Possibly we may have it very fast, or sometimes may not ever do it also, depending upon the situation. We may be able to go there and do it ourselves there instead of bringing it here. So it depends on the type of technology and money and investment that we can afford at that point in time. So, and there are many more missions we should do. It's not limited to moon. We need to go to Mars, we need to go to Venus, we need to understand other planets, sometimes go out of our Earth solar system also to other exosolar planets. So all these are needed. We should do all of this. These are first stepping stones of achieving that. For our generation, this is a step. Then for next generation, there will be many bigger steps.
True. In fact, the other question that many have is, why did ISRO choose the South Pole region? The general observation is that perhaps because it's not explored much, not explored at all in fact. Were there any other reasons, sir?
As much as I know, South Pole is having lesser sunlight. So because of that, there are possibilities of various scientific interest is very high. It is hypothesized that by various scientists who are known to the moon science, that there could be a larger deposit of water beneath the surface. Of course, that is not the objective of this science mission, but there are other mineralogical observations which will be much different from the equatorial region. And landing there itself is again a challenge. So we would like to achieve that, being a challenging mission, and also achieve it in the very first country to land near to the South Pole. So that way it marks a lot of scientific interest.
Yeah. Sir, Aditya L1 about to perhaps take off in a few weeks from now. The Prime Minister has spoken about Mars and Venus. We've successfully had a Mars orbiter mission. In terms of the priorities, sir, which are the ones that ISRO would now?
Priorities, we have well-defined roadmap for doing it. We are starting with the Aditya L1 now. Then we will have missions on Pragyan, which is an abort mission. And there are other regular launches of PSLV, GSLV, SSLV, LVM3, all of them are in the offing. We will have to have the NASA ISRO Synthetic Approach NISAR project is currently getting completed. For next year beginning, we have to do that launch also.
So you mentioned Pragyan, so a quick question on that. Where does it stand today, sir?
Pragyan is going very fine. We have completed the human rating of the GSLV MAR3 or the LVM3. Then we have also developed the rest of the systems like the crew module, crew escape system, and etc. We have to test it finally now through various tests, and it has to go through qualifications, etc. So we are in that process, and test flight which we are scheduling is part of one of those major tests, and such 6-7 tests are to be done as launching itself until before we send the man to space.
So final couple of questions. You mentioned about passing of the knowledge from one generation to another. How do you see, where do you rate Chandrayaan, sir? Where do you put it in terms of the impact this is likely to have on the generation?
No, it will definitely have a big impact, because it is a milestone event in the history of space program of this country. Going there and landing softly on moon has been attempted by many and never succeeded. So it really marks a technological transition point. It is also a transition point in view of the policies of the government. We have a space policy 2023 announced.
Yes.
So both are coinciding in 2023. It's a watershed event year. In fact, I should say that the space sector is going through such a transformation. technologically, scientifically, and in terms of the ecosystem building through private-public partnerships and private ecosystem coming up, the space economy is also going to boom large.
Yeah, I'll come to that space economy bit in a bit. But one aspect is you demonstrated soft landing capability yesterday. Many are also saying the fact that instruments like a LDV, like a hazard detection and avoidance camera, and many other equipments have been developed in-house by ISRO, is a far bigger technological capability demonstration. How do you see it, sir?
It is because instruments are not available for procurement that easily, and it costs us too much. So our laboratories have developed all those instruments, the camera based systems, laser based systems. We have capability, including the inertial system inside is Indian. So it's such something really strong technological backup that we are working on satellite and launch vehicles. We are all very happy about that part.
Yeah. So you spoke about space economy. Many are saying that yesterday's soft landing perhaps will push ISRO's share in the commercial space economy to perhaps double digits or more than that. What is your assessment, sir?
First thing I want to tell you, ISRO is a scientific establishment. It's not a commercial establishment. We have no interest to do business.
Yes.
Business is to be done by private entrepreneurs. So what we are trying to do is whatever we have developed for which are commercially viable, we are transferring to industry so that it can be taken up on a commercial process to generate revenue or business. ISRO will concentrate on more R&D, technology development, etc. so that we will empower our capability. Chandrayaan is an example of that part of the work, that is technological capability development. But the operational systems and business and economy are a different area altogether. But there is a pathway between connecting this. With the technology growth, the economy also will grow because they are linked. And older technology cannot produce a new economy. So we need newer technology to make a new economy, like the 4G, 6G and other communication revolution, quantum communications, strategic areas. So all we are going into many of these R&D topics, and we will hear about that in the future.
Yeah. So my final question to you, we have seen so much progress with Chandrayaan-3, the Prime Minister likely to visit ISRO. There's a tentative schedule. The whole team looking forward to it?
Of course, we look forward to that. We hope that he will be able to come and meet us and then tell us our way forward. We look forward to that.
Well, sir, thanks a lot for joining us today and congratulations once again.
Thank you so much.
Well, that was Mr. Somnath. We'll keep getting you more details about Chandrayaan-3. Stay tuned to CNN News 18.
The next 14 days, remember, are going to be absolutely crucial when it comes to data collection for the rover that is right now on the moon. Now, my colleague Anand Narsman spoke to the Union Minister, Piyush Goyal, about this achievement, this milestone, and what lies ahead. Take a look.
A totally indigenous mission. Piyushji, I'm asking you this and I'm pressing you on this. It's because does that also take a story to the world saying we can do it at not just 1/4 or 1/5 the cost, but we can get it right in 2 times?
It's important to appreciate, and that is something that came out today, where at least trade ministers from 3 countries, and important countries at that, have mentioned that they would like to talk to us to see how we can collaborate together for space technologies and space missions. In fact, one of the senior leaders who's coming in for the Leaders Summit next month, his trade minister has already said that they would like to add that to the agenda of the leaders meeting with Prime Minister Modi.
Fantastic.
So the enthusiasm for India's space mission comes from the fact that we are self-reliant, from the fact that it's very much a competitive business and we stand to gain from that competition. Also that we are a trusted partner. People around the world feel very, very connected to India. They feel they're at home in India. They feel they can trust India to not only perform, but also to perform diligently, efficiently, and honestly. And that's the paradigm shift in the India story that is holding us in very good stead.
Because we saw NASA retrofit a lot of the technology they used for their moon missions back into many other things, and then also use it for their manufacturer and trade cloud. You see India doing that, offering Africa nations technology of remote controlling deep mines deep sea diving.
Anand, why are you talking of the African nations alone? Of course we will support the African nations, but we'll also support the Europeans. We'll also support the Americans. India today stands tall and proud as a technologically enabled nation. I mean, I'm told that there are more than 5,000 engineers of Indian origin working in NASA. I'm given to understand that most of Silicon Valley technologies have an Indian element, a large Indian element. Most of the semiconductor design across the world has a huge contribution by proud Indians. So I think now India is not considered by anybody to be a nation which is anywhere less competent or less able to serve the needs of the most discerning customers in every walk of life.
The political opposition in our country doesn't seem to have confidence in the abilities of the government, because many times they say India is conceding far more. It is a give and go, but we are compromising on our interests. You know what happened with the levies with the US government. You clarified on it the last time we spoke. But there are concerns being raised that India's interests are being compromised just to get...
All right, we had to disturb that because we have big breaking news coming in. Praggnanandhaa, on whose hopes India was pinned, it seems he has lost the Chess World Cup final, and Magnus Carlsen has won. All right, my colleague Shivani is going to fill us in.
Yes, so Magnus Carlsen is the World Cup winner. This was one of the titles that was missing from his kitty, from his cabinet, the only big title that was missing from his cabinet. So the two classical matches were ended in a draw each. That's why today we saw the first set of the rapid games between the two. In the first one, because of the time pressure, the clock pressure, getting to Praggnanandhaa towards the end, and that's exactly what these games are intended to do, to force a winner. He made a couple of mistakes towards the end and ended up losing the first of the tiebreakers today, which were 25 minutes plus 10 seconds for every move. And in that second game, it was a must-win game for Praggnanandhaa. That in itself puts a lot of pressure on the person playing against the world number one and under time pressure with the black pieces. So it was always going to be an uphill task, and eventually agreed to a draw in the second game, which eventually meant that Magnus Carlsen lifts the title. But it is not without its benefits or without its silver lining as far as this competition is concerned. Remember, Praggnanandhaa became the first after Vishy Anand in over 20 years to even get to the final stage of a World Cup title event. And by virtue of making to the final, in fact, by virtue of getting into the semi-finals, Praggnanandhaa has already qualified for the Candidates 2024. Now, the basic aim of the World Cup is that the top three from the event get to the Candidates 2024, which is the event from where the challenger for the World Chess Champion is decided. So now Praggnanandhaa, all of 18 years old, currently world number 29, so he has punched above his weight, is going to play in the Candidates 2024. There he's going to have a chance to play against some of the other top seeds and top ranked players of the world. And from that championship, the challenger to Lunar, who's the World Chess Champion right now, will be decided. So a lot to look forward to for this 18-year-old.
Shivani, you brought us that interview with Vishwanath Anand earlier, where one of the things that he pointed out was that this is at best just practice for someone who's just 18 years old. That's in itself a record. Can you tell us more about, just looking at this match, the performance of both of these players?
So, it would be fair to say, Toya, that Praggnanandhaa was the underdog going into this final. Like I said, Magnus had never won this title, so he was very, very hungry. And that's something Vishy pointed out to us as well, that Praggnanandhaa is going to face a very motivated Magnus Carlsen. So even though Praggnanandhaa was playing at the level which allowed him to get to the final, there was no pressure on him. He has nothing to lose. He had nothing to lose because he's already done more than what anybody would have imagined he would do in this competition, beating the world number 3, beating the world number 2, and then going toe-to-toe to force a tiebreaker with the world number 1 is no small achievement. And from here, he's going to learn so much. His rankings are going to improve. And as I said, because he's played a lot of tiebreakers against the world number 3, 2 others in this competition, and now against Magnus Carlsen, he's going to have a lot of confidence under his belt. So when he gets to that Candidates 2024, he will look to give an even better performance.
And can I ask you, Shivani, one last question? Much attention has been paid in the last few weeks to the fact that there are a number of new young chess players in India that there's a lot of hope about. What is this going to mean for them, for the chess ecosystem? What are the takeaways?
Yeah, so you've got Gukesh, who's the #1 Indian chess player right now. He's higher ranked than even Vishy Anand. There's obviously Arjun and also Vidit, who were part of the quarterfinals along with Praggnanandhaa at this event. So this event, why it caught everybody's imagination and why it got so much coverage is because there were 4 Indians in the quarterfinals, and 2 of them, Praggnanandhaa had met Arjun, one of them in the quarterfinals as well. So 4 Indians in the quarterfinals of the World Cup in itself was a big thing to look forward to. We were guaranteed that one of them will make it to the semi-final. That was Praggnanandhaa, breaking Vishy's record, and then he progressed to the final as well. So as Vishy actually, in fact, in that conversation told us, he termed it the golden generation of Indian tennis. So he feels the future of Indian chess, and he feels the future of Indian chess is extremely good because, the last time Vishy Anand was the world champion was in 2012. He lost his title, interestingly, to Magnus Carlsen in 2013. So obviously Magnus has been a thorn in many Indians' backside, but Magnus is what he is for a reason. So, from then to now, we've got many talents that are doing extremely well. Praggnanandhaa's ranking and rating both is expected to rise, and especially for this 18-year-old.
Tanya Sachdev is also with us right now. Would you like to talk to her?
Yes, let me go across to Tanya Sachdev as well. Your first comments, Tanya. It was always meant to be and going to be a tough final, but in the end, Praggnanandhaa gave Magnus a good fight.
Yeah, it was a fantastic tournament, and what a performance by Prag. You're playing against world #1 Magnus in the final. I think getting there itself was such a huge journey and accomplishment. So despite how the final ended, one can't take away what a brilliant run Prag has had in this World Cup.
All right, Tanya, could I also ask you, because we were asking my colleague Shivani this. Shivani spoke to Vishwanath Anand a few hours ago, actually, and one of his big takeaways was that if you look at the way that Prag has performed, this is just the beginning for him. Do you have any comments there?
The last year, all of last year, and his breakout has been in that performance of the champion chesser when he took down Magnus Carlsen for the first time. Then we also saw his brilliant play at the Olympiad in Chennai, where he played a role in winning the medal for the country, and he won an individual medal as well. And absolutely, what Vishy is saying, let's not forget that this is the first time that an Indian who's not Vishy Anand makes it to the candidates. And we have a hope to fight for the World Championship one more time. And it's going to be Prag who's going to try and win the candidates and then fight for the ultimate title. So in some ways, it's really the beginning of the biggest dream that every chess player has, which is to get to the candidates.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Tanya. So I just want to ask you, talking about that candidates, the kind of experience that Praggnanandhaa has got under his belt in this championship or in this World Cup campaign and the previous tournaments that he has played. Vishy was also talking about that in the last 3 tournaments, he's really upped his game and he's right up there, even his rankings, even though his rankings may not suggest so, but technically he's playing on par with some of the best in the world. So do you think this competition is going to give him a lot of confidence as he looks forward to Candidates 2024?
Oh, 100%. And, even recently the way he played in the Global Chess League, where he was actually part of the same team as Magnus. And he won every single game, taking down some of the biggest names. In this World Cup, he beat world #3, he beat world #2, both Hikaru and Fabi. He took down some of the strongest grandmasters in the world. And also against Magnus in the classical, both games ended in a draw. It wasn't meant to be the World Cup winner this time, but for sure, I think this shows that Prag is no more a prodigy or a talent or a potential. He's arrived and he's up there with the world's best.
Absolutely. Praggnanandhaa has arrived, and in fact, this 18-year-old has very quickly become the new face of Indian chess. What do you make of his journey?
Just phenomenal. At 18 to have this kind of achievement, this maturity, this composure, his unique ability to keep control over his nerves, his precise calculation when the clock is running really low, his ability to take risky decisions, play gutsy moves on the board against the very best in the world. and his champion's mindset of just being fearless against who he plays, regardless of who's sitting in front of him, taking down Hikaru Nakamura in playoffs, that epic battle he had against Arjun, winning against Fabiano Caruana, who's a former World Championship challenger. Yeah, it's been amazing to watch this last year and the kind of performances that Prag has put out.
One sec. Yes, Tanya, I just want to quickly take a word about Magnus too. Let's not forget he's won the World Cup, the only title that was missing from his kitty.
Magnus is world number 1. He has 15 World Championship titles. The one that was missing was being a World Cup winner. He was a man on a mission when he got to Baku, and he made that mission a reality. Magnus is GOAT. He is, you can't take that away from him. He is the greatest of all times, and he's done what he went to Baku for, to get that final title that was eluding him for so long in. And it's going to be fun to see what the future holds for him. He said he won't be playing in the candidates. I think part of the world, the chess world and the world wants to see him back. They want to see him fight for that World Championship crown once more, but only time will tell.
All right, absolutely. Tanya, thanks a lot for joining us for your first reactions. We're also getting some more reactions that are coming in. Let's also go across to Elisbar Obilava, Spanish Grandmaster, who's joining us. Your first reactions to the World Cup final. Of course, Magnus was the top dog. He was the favorite going in. He's finally won that World Cup title he really wanted. But a word about Praggnanandhaa's challenge as well.
Yeah, of course, this was amazing World Cup. And from the beginning, Magnus was a favorite, of course, of this tournament. But the Praggnanandhaa's games and his attitude, his just chess was amazing, really. I can say that he's a gold boy, and really he's having some fire in his inside. So probably he's one of the candidates to be in few years world champion. This is no doubt. And also I have to say about Ramesh, who is coaching Praggnanandhaa, and he's absolutely amazing person and a great coach.
Yes.
So for me it was confirming that still Magnus Carlsen is number 1. He's not world champion, but he's no doubt he's number 1, and probably in very short future he's the real candidate to take world championship. One of the real candidates is Praggnanandhaa.
You're calling him the gold boy. Exactly what is it that you find so good in Praggnanandhaa? Could you explain for our viewers?
Yeah, it's his chess, you know, it's how he's doing this, and looking his eyes only, you can see that he is shining something, you know, something in his inside. Also, I had some experience to work with him a few years ago when Ramesh invited me, and I immediately understood that he was absolutely a different chess boy, and I told that probably he will be a chess Buddha in final stage.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining in and for those kind words for Praggnanandhaa. Kuneru Hampi is also joining us. Kuneru, your first thoughts. The final, the result hasn't really gone Praggnanandhaa or India's way, but this has been a phenomenal performance to even get to the final and, of course, secure that position in the Candidates 2024.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary performance by Praggnanandhaa. Like, so far, apart from Anand, like, we haven't seen anybody reaching to this point of level. And he has also beaten a lot of top players and got qualified to the candidates. At such a young age, I think this is just we could only expect more and more from him in the future. It's just a beginning for him, I would say. And he did play really well in the finals as well, like classical. It was a very standard game. And even in the first tiebreak game, at some point of time, it was like Praggnanandhaa was the one who was pressing at one point, but towards the time trouble, I think he started misplaying and things went wrong.
But you know, the kind of experience that one gets from this stage, playing in the World Cup, from a round 4 exit last time around to getting into the final on the route, beating the world number 3-2 and facing the world number 1 and then forcing a tie break even against him. What is the kind of confidence you think and experience that Praggnanandhaa will gain from this?
Definitely, like everyone knows about his talent. I think sometimes it really matters to have some good luck as well. Though he did well, obviously Magnus was too strong in the tiebreak games, and the experience also mattered a lot. But looking at the games, it's very much visible that Praggnanandhaa had a very strong nervous. Like we could see the game with Arjun in the tie breaks where he was under pressure after losing the first classical match, and he came back strongly. And it was a very tense and close by match. Like either way, it could have gone. But he fought till the end, so that shows his strong nervous. I think that's what is important in playing these knockout tournaments. Definitely, I feel in a future tournaments he'll be having much more great success.
And what do you foresee? Now he's in the Candidates 2024, as everyone is talking about after Vishwanathan Anand. The first time we're going to have an Indian challenging for the World Chess Champion title. What do you foresee for Praggnanandhaa?
Well, I think the strategy has to be entirely different for candidates for sure, because knockout, it's being a 2-game match. The preparation wide, it's entirely different. Candidates is very much deeply prepared. So it's important to have a lot of ideas and to be a very stable, so it's more of a long tournament. So it's going to be a tough event, but we do have a very good chances to see him in the finals as well.
All right, Koneru Hampi, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us right here on the show. It's time for a short break. On the other side, more of the country's top stories. This is The Nation at 5.
Photo of the rover coming out of the lander on the ramp, and the updates that we had soon after Vikram with 4 landing legs successfully reached the moon. These images were captured by the landing imager camera after the landing showed a portion of the Chandrayaan-3's landing site, and in this picture that you can see, seen is also a leg and its accompanying shadow. This is what the ISRO scientists have said. The image that we have accessed, this is the description we have received, and we have Harish Upadhyay joining us for on this broadcast. Harish, a very good morning to you. So, well, this is the particular image that we have received. We have some ISRO scientists describing this image. Could you give us some more details about this?
Pragyan, the rover has successfully come out of the lander module and it's on the lunar surface now. Perhaps those images, that is of the rover on the lunar surface, is something we are waiting for. That would be put out by ISRO in the due course of time. But these were the initial set of images that have come in. One is the photo taken from the lander module of the surface of moon. You can also see the shadow of the legs of the lander. The other is of Pragyan, the rover, which is just at the exit of the lander, yet to climb down from this ramp that has been put up by the lander. That can't be seen in this photo, but significant achievement for India. Remember, the other image that the entire country is waiting for is the image of rover Pragyan, or especially its wheels, leaving an imprint of ISRO's logo and the Ashoka Chakra, the national emblem, on the surface of the moon. That is something we are all eagerly waiting for. That would, in a way, stamp ISRO's success, especially the fact that they've landed and have started exploring the South Pole region of the moon.
Absolutely, Harish. Thank you for bringing us all those details, and definitely you can see the visuals on your screen of the first image that we accessed from the moon. And right now we have CNN News 18's managing editor Zaka Jacobs, who spoke to a group of scientists on the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3. Take a look at what conversation took place. Well, we have another breaking piece of information. As the day proceeds, we are getting fresh inputs, and this is regarding a tweet. Chandrayaan-3 mission, ISRO's fresh tweet, social media post that has come in, which is saying that Chandrayaan-3 rover made in India, made for the moon. Now, the CH-3 rover ramped down from the lander and India took a walk on the moon. This is the post that we are getting. Definitely quite a proud moment yesterday when we saw this particular mission successfully landing on the moon, and you can see the post right here in front of you, wherein the ISRO team has tweeted, and they have said that Chandrayaan-3 mission, Chandrayaan-3 rover made in India, made for the moon. The Chandrayaan-3 rover ramped down from the lander and India took a walk on the moon. More updates to come in soon. This is the particular tweet that we have received from ISRO's official page, and we have Harish Upadhyay joining us on the broadcast. Harish, well, quite a proud moment, definitely quite another expression of pride from ISRO, definitely a big moment for India yesterday when they landed. And this is the particular tweet that we have. What more are we gathering?
Well, it's an official confirmation that Pragyan rover has not just stepped out of the lander, it's also moved around on the surface of the moon. We're just waiting to hear if the two payloads which are part of the rover have started their experiments, or if ISRO would like to assess a few more parameters before starting any experiment. But definitely, at least the initial targets have been met. The achievement is there. We've had a soft landing. We've had the rover successfully roll out of the lander and move on the surface of the moon. Payloads working and carrying out the scientific experiments, those were never really the biggest challenges of this mission. Soft landing and ensuring the rover moving on the surface of the moon were the biggest challenge. Remember, if you see the footage that's come out, the photos that come out from the lander, it's a challenging terrain. There was always a risk of a rover toppling if the incline was too much. ISRO seems like it has picked up the right spot as they've mapped earlier, and picked up a spot where the rover can move easily and carry out experiments. So what will happen in the next 13 days or so? There are 5 payloads, 3 on the lander. They would carry out the experiments. The rover, which directly communicates only with the lander, will move in the near vicinity of the lander and will start doing these experiments. 2 major payloads on the rover. One is a spectrometer, which will look at the chemical composition of the soil of lunar surface. The other is a spectrosphere, that's a laser-based one that will look at the element composition of the lunar surface. These are experiments that the rover will carry out in near vicinity in the next few days or so. But ISRO has nearly 13 days to carry out these experiments.
Now we have some breaking piece of information coming in. This is the first photo of the rover coming out of the lander on the ramp. This is the picture that we are receiving, and we will be shortly showing this. This is the Chandrayaan-3 successfully landing on the moon, and after that the first photo of the rover Pragyan, which is coming out of the lander on the ramp. This is the image that we have been able to access, and we will shortly show you that image that we have. Right here on the screen you have the image that we have accessed, which is the first photo of the rover coming out of the lander on the ramp. And the updates that we had soon after Vikram with 4 landing legs successfully reached the moon. These images were captured by the landing imager camera after the landing showed a portion of the Chandrayaan-3's landing site. And in this picture that you can see, seen is also a leg and its accompanying shadow. This is what the ISRO scientists have said. The image that we have accessed, this is the description we have received. And we have Harish Upadhyay joining us for on this broadcast. Harish, a very good morning to you. So, well, this is the particular image that we have received. We have some ISRO scientists describing this image. Could you give us some more details about this?
Pragyan, the rover is successfully come out of the lander module and it's on the lunar surface now. Perhaps those images, that is of the rover on the lunar surface, is something we are waiting for. That would be put out by ISRO in the due course of time. But these were the initial set of images that have come in. One is the photo taken from the lander module of the surface of Moon. You can also see the shadow of the legs of the lander. The other is of Pragyan, the rover, which is just at the exit of the lander, yet to climb down from this ramp that has been put up by the lander. That can't be seen in this photo, but significant achievement for India. Remember, the other image that the entire country is waiting for is the image of rover Pragyan, or especially its wheels.
CNN News 18. Our next story is different from the stories we brought you so far. It's a political one. Senior Congress leader Manishankar Iyer has generated controversy with remarks he's made about India's 9th Prime Minister, P.V. Narasimha Rao. You remember that P.V. Narasimha Rao was known not just for the economic liberalization that he introduced to the economy, but also because it was during his tenure that the Babri Masjid was demolished. Now, the comment that Manishankar Iyer has made that has generated controversy is that he's called P.V. Narasimha Rao India's first BJP Prime Minister. But why is that generating controversy? Because those of you who were there at that point would remember P.V. Narasimha Rao was, of course, a very senior Congress leader. Now, the BJP has responded back to these remarks. It's generated quite a bit of controversy. We'll play all of those remarks, then we'll connect with the reporter for more.
How Hindu-oriented P.V. Narasimha Rao was, and it foreshadowed how he would be sitting doing puja while the Babri Masjid was brought down and saying to me, I have no objection to your yatra, but I disagree with your definition of secularism. So I asked Narasimha Rao, but sir, what's wrong with my definition of secularism? He said, Mani, you don't seem to understand that this is a Hindu country. I sat up in my chair and I said, but that's exactly what the BJP says. So in fact, the first BJP Prime Minister of India was not Atal Bihari Vajpayee. The first BJP Prime Minister was Narasimha Rao.
One should be extremely clear. Whatever Manishankar Iyer ji writes, speaks and projects, the pen and the tongue may be of Manishankar Iyer, but the ideas and the objectives are the Gandhi family. He represents the Gandhi family as none other. अब देखिए, परिवारवाद को लेकर पीवी नरसिम्हा राव जो कांग्रेस के ही प्रधानमंत्री रहे, उनके लिए जिस प्रकार के शब्दों का प्रयोग किया गया है, यह स्पष्ट रूप से दिखाता है कि गांधी परिवार के प्रवक्ता, गांधी परिवार से बाहर कोई और व्यक्ति देश का प्रधानमंत्री बन जाए, चाहे वो कांग्रेसी ही क्यों ना हो, इस विषय को सह नहीं सकते.
Okay, my colleague Pallavi is with us. Pallavi, it was shortly after Rajiv Gandhi's death, a few months after that P.V. Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister. And he was a very, very senior Congress leader when he became the Prime Minister. Can you bring us more context? Why did Manishankar Iyer make this comment? What's the context here?
See, Manishankar Iyer was speaking on the baking of the book. I mean, it was his book released really yesterday. And it was in that context, it's there very much a part of this book, but even when he just heard his soundbite. Look, the Congress has always had a very uneasy relationship with P.V. Narasimha Rao, particularly the Gandhi family. And I remember Dr. Manmohan Singh was perhaps the only one who would publicly make it a point to pay his tributes to P.V. Narasimha Rao on his death and birth anniversary, because he always acknowledged him as his mentor, as his economic and political mentor. But as far as the Congress is concerned, they've never been comfortable with him. Now, Manishankar Iyer is known for his proximity to the Gandhi family, and what he's essentially talking in the context of an incident he had with P.V. Narasimha Rao. And at that point of time, it was a Ram Rahim Yatra which Manishankar Iyer was talking about. P.V. Narasimha Rao made it very clear that Yatra would have its focus on the Hindu factor, because he also told Manishankar Iyer that India is primarily a Hindu country. Now, this is something which Hindu Rashtra concept is very much akin to what BJP talks about. And therefore, Manishankar Iyer has made that controversial comments, which has given enough ammunition now to the BJP against, one, the Gandhi family, and second, against the Congress party.
Okay, Pallavi, thank you for bringing us that context. This is a breaking political slice of news. Right now, it's time for a short break. On the other side, more of the country's top stories. You're watching The Nation at 5.
We have achieved soft landing on the moon. India is on the moon.
जी हाँ, आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि हम लैंडर मॉड्यूल
जब हम अपनी आंखों के सामने ऐसा इतिहास बनते हुए देखते हैं तो जीवन धन्य हो जाता है.
What an incredible moment this is for ISRO, for India's space scientists. All of us here at CNN News 18. Unbelievable scenes, ladies and gentlemen. India has conquered the moon.
Brought to you by
of ISRO's logo and the Ashoka Chakra, the national emblem on the surface of the moon. That is something we are all eagerly waiting for. That would in a way stamp ISRO's success, especially the fact that they've landed and have started exploring the South Pole region of the moon.
Absolutely, Harish. Thank you for bringing us all those details, and definitely you can see the visuals on your screen of the first image that we accessed from the moon. And right now we have CNN News 18's managing editor Zaka Jacobs, who spoke to a group of scientists on the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3. Take a look at what conversation took place. Well, we have another breaking piece of information. As the day proceeds, we are getting fresh inputs, and this is regarding a tweet. Chandrayaan-3 mission, ISRO's fresh tweet, social media post that has come in, which is saying that Chandrayaan-3 rover made in India, made for the moon. Now, the CH-3 rover ramped down from the lander and India took a walk on the moon. This is the post that we are getting. Definitely quite a proud moment yesterday when we saw this particular mission successfully landing on the moon, and you can see the post right here in front of you, wherein the ISRO team has tweeted, and they have said that Chandrayaan-3 mission, Chandrayaan-3 rover made in India, made for the moon. The Chandrayaan-3 rover ramped down from the lander and India took a walk on the moon. More updates to come in soon. This is the particular tweet that we have received from ISRO's official page, and we have Harish Upadhyay joining us on the broadcast. Harish, well, quite a proud moment, definitely quite another expression of pride from ISRO, definitely a big moment for India yesterday when they landed. And this is the particular tweet that we have. What more are we gathering?
Well, it's an official confirmation that Pragyan rover has not just stepped out of the lander, it's also moved around on the surface of the moon. We're just waiting to hear if the two payloads which are part of the rover have started their experiments, or if ISRO would like to assess a few more parameters before starting any experiment. But definitely, at least the initial targets have been met. The achievement is there. We've had a soft landing. We've had the rover successfully roll out of the lander and move on the surface of the moon. Payloads working and carrying out the scientific experiments, those were never really the biggest challenges of this mission. Soft landing and ensuring the rover moving on the surface of the moon were the biggest challenge. Remember, if you see the footage that come out, the photos that come out from the lander, it's a challenging terrain. There was always a risk of a rover toppling if the incline was too much. ISRO seems like it has picked up the right spot as they've mapped earlier, and picked up a spot where the rover can move easily and carry out experiments. So what will happen in the next 13 days or so? There are 5 payloads, 3 on the lander. They would carry out the experiments. The rover, which directly communicates only with the lander, will move in the near vicinity of the lander and will start doing these experiments. 2 major payloads on the rover. One is a spectrometer, which will look at the chemical composition of the soil of lunar surface. The other is the spectrosphere. That's a laser-based one that will look at the element composition of the lunar surface. These are experiments that the rover will carry out in near vicinity in the next few days or so. But ISRO has nearly 13 days to carry out these experiments.
Now we have some breaking piece of information coming in. This is the first photo of the rover coming out of the lander on the ramp. This is the picture that we are receiving, and we will be shortly showing this. This is the Chandrayaan-3 successfully landing on the moon, and after that the first photo of the rover Pragyan, which is coming out of the lander on the ramp. This is the image that we have been able to access, and we will shortly show you that image that we have. Right here on the screen you have the image that we have accessed, which is the first photo of the rover coming out of the lander on the ramp. And the updates that we had soon after Vikram with 4 landing legs successfully reached the moon. These images were captured by the landing imager camera after the landing showed a portion of the Chandrayaan-3's landing site. And in this picture that you can see, seen is also a leg and its accompanying shadow. This is what the ISRO scientists have said. The image that we have accessed, this is the description we have received. And we have Harish Upadhyay joining us for on this broadcast. Harish, a very good morning to you. So, well, this is the particular image that we have received. We have some ISRO scientists describing this image. Could you give us some more details about this?
Pragyan, the rover is successfully come out of the lander module, and it's on the lunar surface now. Perhaps those images, that is of the rover on the lunar surface, is something we are waiting for. That would be put out by ISRO in the due course of time. But these were the initial set of images that have come in. One is the photo taken from the lander module of the surface of moon. You can also see the shadow of the legs of the lander. The other is of Pragyan, the rover, which is just at the exit of the lander, yet to climb down from this ramp that has been put up by the lander. That can't be seen in this photo, but significant achievement for India. Remember, the other image that the entire country is waiting for is the image of rover Pragyan, or especially its wheels, leaving an imprint of ISRO's logo and the Ashoka Chakra, the national emblem, on the surface of the moon. That is something we are all eagerly waiting for. That would, in a way, stamp ISRO's success, especially the fact that they've landed and have started exploring the South Pole region of the moon.
Absolutely, Harish. Thank you for bringing us all those details, and definitely you can see the visuals on your screen of the first image that we accessed from the moon. And right now we have CNN News 18's managing editor Zaka Jacobs, who spoke to a group of scientists on the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3. Take a look at what conversation took place. Well, we have another breaking piece of information. As the day proceeds, we are getting fresh inputs, and this is regarding a tweet. Chandrayaan-3 mission, ISRO's fresh tweet, social media post that has come in, which is saying that Chandrayaan-3 rover made in India, made for the moon. Now, the CH-3 rover ramped down from the lander and India took a walk on the moon. This is the post that we are getting. Definitely quite a proud moment yesterday when we saw this particular mission successfully landing on the moon, and you can see the post right here in front of.
Welcome back. You're watching The Nation at 5 right here on CNN News 18, and we're welcoming you back with some very exciting news that we've got coming in as we speak. The National Film Awards, the 69th National Film Awards, have, as we speak, just been announced. They were supposed to start at 5 p.m. and the nominees are coming in. The winnings are coming in. Let's go over to the screen right behind me. I'll share with you some of the names. We're learning that the Best Actor Award has been given to Alia Bhatt. We know that she's possibly won it for Gangubai, but I'll wait for a confirmation to come in. We'll also have reporters joining us to bring us more details. Best Actor, Best Actress, these are the national awards. Both, as you can see, Alia Bhatt and Kirti Sanon have won the awards. This is the national awards for 2022. Now, we'll have a reporter joining us. Vishal Chatkara is with us right now. Vishal, I was telling our audiences, Alia Bhatt has won it for Gangubai. Tell our audiences about what Kirti Sanon has won it for. Also tell us more about both of their performances. We're just showing our audiences some visuals from Gangubai in the screen behind us. But do go ahead, Vishal.
Well, it was quite expected for the award for the Alia Bhatt for the moving performance of her in this Sanjay Leela Bhansali directorial. While Mimi, the character which is played by Kriti Sanon, came as a surprise, but Alia was because Alia really became Gangubai in Gangubai Kathiawadi. It was a very moving performance, and Alia is by far one of the finest actors we have in the country, and it's a very deserving award for Alia Bhatt. And congratulations to Kriti Sanon, because this was also one of the finest performances of her career.
All right, Vishal, I believe more winnings are coming in right now. Best feature film has, I think, just been announced. Can you share some of the other names that have just won, Vishal?
So the other one is Pankaj Tripathi in best supporting for the best supporting actor. Then there's Pallavi Joshi for Kashmir Files. Kashmir File was a big money spinner in 2 years ago when it released. And there is Karl Bhairava who won best singer for his song in the film RRR. But looking at the award, it's a sweep by Gangubai Kathiawadi and RRR. And while other big win is Sardar Udham, which actually got a lot of technical awards, while no award for Vicky Kaushal. But Chandra Bosa, although got best lyrics award, not for RRR, and best music went to DSP for the music of Pushpa, and it is shared with and best director for the background score has gone to M.M. Keeravani, who actually got us an Oscar. So it's good to see good cinema being rewarded. RRR was expected because it's a film which really put our
best actor, Vishal, I'm learning, has been won by Allu Arjun for Pushpa. Can you confirm that?
Yes. It was a big. Telugu cinema has always been. That is the one film which scored such a massive number at the box office. It opened in the same month as 83. And it was a dub film which is released in Hindi and got the cash registers ringing. So Allu Arjun was expected, but the big surprise and the other thing is Alia Bhatt, a very moving, winning performance, very deserving performance. So congratulations to all the winners. While the technical awards have gone majorly to Sardar Udham, like best costume, best production design has gone to Sardar Udham, while best screenplay has gone to Sanjay Leela Bhansali for Gangubai Kathiawadi, and so as the best dialogue. So if you see it's a sweep for Gangubai Kathiawadi and RRR at the national awards.
Is this Alia Bhatt's first national award? Can you confirm for us?
Yes, I think it's the first award for Alia Bhatt, and a very, very deserving award. She is also gaining a lot of respect and praise for her role in Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani and her Hollywood film.
Tell us also, Vishal, the National Film Awards are looked at in a very different light from the more commercial awards. For example, the Filmfare Awards that take place or the IFA Awards that take place. Tell our audiences why that is.
Because while IFA is done by voting and Filmfare Awards are decided by a committee, likewise here it's equivalent of Oscars in our country. National awards are equivalent to what Oscars are. So it's a very revered and respected award. It honors cinema across the India, not just Hindi or Bollywood. It honors Tamil. Each and every language we honor our movies every year. Even Cello Show, the film which was the official entry last year in the Oscars, also won an award at the National Awards this year.
Okay, all right. Vishal, tell us the Dada Saheb Phalke Award is also announced during the same ceremony. Can you confirm that for us?
Hasn't been announced. I think they will be announcing it towards the end of the ceremony, at the end of the announcement. So we have to wait towards the end of the announcement. They will be announcing the winner of the national of Dada Saheb Phalke Award.
Okay, Vishal, just confirm for us. You were saying Gangubai is one of the big winners today. What are the other big winners?
The other big winners are, of course, RRR, who got us our Oscar. and then there's Allu Arjun. There was almost like a fight was going on Twitter between the fans of Junior NTR and Allu Arjun. A lot of fans were hoping that Junior NTR will be rewarded with a national award, but I think they favored Allu Arjun because it's an award released, given to the film released in 2021. Pushpa was a big money spinner, a big hit. And so they even rewarded the famous Shivalli song composer DSP. So, yeah.
Vishal, thank you so much for staying with us. This is Griha here. I'd like to also understand from you about the popular wins in the category, especially the Best Actress and Best Actor. You just mentioned about Allu Arjun, but when it is about this joint award between Alia Bhatt and Kriti Sanon, the kind of industry inputs that we are beginning to now get vis-a-vis social media, what has been that, considering this is Alia and Kriti, both of them winning their first ever national award?
Well, you know, Alia actually swept most of the popular awards that year for Gangubai Kathiawadi, and a lot of people praised Mimi, Kriti Sanon Mimi for her moving performance. So they actually have rewarded both. But you know, Kriti Sanon announcement really came as a surprise to a lot of people. Alia Bhatt. The internet was buzzing with Alia Bhatt could be the big winner.
Yes.
This year.
Yes. And also, Vishal, the fact that Rocketry has bagged the best film. We are talking still at a time when Chandrayaan-3 has made a soft landing on the moon, giving India that much needed impetus as far as space exploration is concerned. That is also poetic justice. I'm sure Madhavan will be a happy man. Can we juxtapose the two things, the two good news together?
Actually, yeah, and I think the award must have been decided at least 2-3 days ago. That's why we didn't see Rocketry sweep